Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make your own press-on nails at home. So stay tuned and keep watching. Okay, so let's talk nail tip sizing. So the tips that I have here today are full cover almond tips, short almond. So for you, you can get whichever full cover tip you want, whichever shape. They have the coffin, the almond, stiletto, square, whichever one. You're going to get that and then you're going to size them out. So for example, I have these tips here sized up for a client, but I'll use one to show you what I mean when I say size from side to side or sidewall to sidewall. So you're going to take your tip, you're going to place it on your nail at your cuticle, and you're going to make sure that it fits from side to side. If it doesn't, then you want to get another tip from side to side, meaning on your finger from this side to the next side. You want to make sure it fits comfortably, not too tight, or it will pinch, and that will make your nail uncomfortable and give tension. So from side to side comfortably. If it is a bit too big or the nail tip is too wide, you can just take a file and you can shave it down on the sides until it gets to be the perfect size for your cuticle. So I'm going to show you really quick. So you just place it on your nail, check from side to side, and make sure it's good. Once you've done that to all of the tips, then we can go ahead and move on to our next step. Let me just put this back right quick. Okay, now that we've covered sizing, let's move on to our next step. So the next step would be prepping your nail tips. I like to take a file and file the edges or the very tip of the nail. If you look at the tips, they tend to have these little pointy pieces or extra plastic pieces at the very tip of the shape. And so I just like to take a file and smooth that out. Also check the tip and see if it's the shape is as sharp, I should say, as you want it. If not, then take a file and do the same thing, refine the shape a bit until it is exactly how you want it. Now that we've refined the shape, I like to go ahead also and prep my cuticle area. So because I'm doing press-ons, I usually like to shave down the cuticle area with a file to make it a bit thinner, just so that when I add product on top, it's not as thick and it's able to be applied to the fingernail without looking so bulky, and it can be flush and seamless. Now this is optional, it's not mandatory, it's just something that I like to do personally. So if you find it useful, then you can go ahead and do it as well. I just thought to add it in case it would help any of you when you're making your own press-ons at home. I'll go ahead to refine the shape on all 5 nails and file down the cuticle a bit, and then I will be back with the next tip for you guys. Okay, now that we have refined the shape of the nail, what you can do to further prep the tip is, if you have a shiny nail or a glossy nail, let's see. So the tips that I have here are matte. So I don't necessarily have to etch them on the inside or outside. But if you have a tip that is more on the glossy side, for instance, if you have a tip that is clear, like this one, what you can do is etch the inside so that the inside grips better when you place it on your nail. And you can also etch the top side so that it is matte, just to help the gel or the acrylic, whichever whichever one you're using, gel or acrylic, it will stick better. Necessarily, you don't really have to do it with acrylic, but I would say still go ahead and do it anyway, just to ensure that the acrylic sticks to the nail, to the tip. With the gel, I would go ahead and buff it out just to make it matte, like this one, so that the gel has texture to stick to and you have better adhesion, just so that the gel doesn't separate from the tip later down the line. You can etch the inside with primer, with acetone, with a nail file or e-file. You can do either one, whichever you prefer, whatever you have on hand, but you can further prep the inside and the outside of the tip using those methods. Since my tips are already matte, I'm not going to prep them. I've already gone ahead and refined the shape, so that's where we'll start. Next, what we're going to do is lay down our base. So for me personally, I like to start off by using a base gel. So I'll put down a layer of base gel, and then I'll move on to my next step. So let's do the base gel first. Okay, last one. So what I'm going to do now is cure this base gel in my nail lamp for 60 seconds before I move on to my next step. So I'm just going to go ahead and cure, and then I'll be back. Okay, now that our nails have finished curing, what I'm going to do next is put down some builder gel for structure. So I know sometimes the tips can be a bit thin and bendy, and personally, I don't like that. So to add some structure and strength, I am going to add on a layer of Beetles Builder Gel. Or you can use any builder gel actually, it just doesn't have to be Beetles, but this is just what I have. So I'm going to use this builder gel and put it on the nails for strength. This is in clear, so I'm just going to do that really quick. After I do this, I am going to cure in the lamp again for 60 seconds. So as you can see, the builder gel is a thicker viscosity, or is a thicker formula than the base gel. So the builder gel can come in any viscosity, but I would say go for normal to thick. You don't want it to be too thin, unless, of course, that's what you prefer. But I usually like to use a thicker viscosity just to help me smooth it on the nail without it running everywhere so quickly, because I do tend to move a bit slow when I'm doing my nails. So for the lighting here, I know it's a bit darker. I had to step out for a few moments, and by the time as I came back, the sun had already shifted its position, and so it's a bit darker, so I do apologize. After adding the builder gel and before curing, I like to turn the nails upside down to let the gravity pull the builder gel into the center of the nail to help build the apex and give it a nice shape. So I'm just checking to make sure everything's how I want it, and then I'm going to cure once I'm satisfied. The nails have been cured and I'm getting ready to move into the next step. So I got this base gel because it's a part of the design, but the clear and the base gel, the clear, that's laying the base. So now we can move on to the design. I'm gonna use this 5-in-1 rubber base gel. It is in sheer pink. It's a really light, pretty pink color. I'm going to put this down in 2 coats as a base color for the design I'll be doing today. The nails that my client asked for were French tips, and she wanted the color scheme to be orange, burgundy, and gold. And so I'm doing the sheer pink as a base color for her nail bed color, and then I'm going to do the French tips on top of that, and it'll pop very nicely. After curing, I'm going to now move ahead into the French tip part. So I'm going to take my jelly stamper and I'm going to use that to help me get the French tip on, and then I'll refine the tips. Sorry, the shape. I'll refine the shape of the French tip with my brush after that. I'm just placing on some polish and then using the stamper to press that onto the nail, and I'm rotating it a little bit to help me with the French tip curve, and then I will use my nail art brush to go ahead and define that French tip line as I'm doing now. Okay, now that we've gotten our French tips done, I am going to go ahead and start with the maple leaf. She wanted the theme of the nails to be autumn and falling leaves on there, so that's why I added them in. To save time, I've skipped ahead in the design. So I've already done the French tips, I've already done the gold chrome, and now I'm going to move on to the leaves. So I'm going to add some orange leaves onto the burgundy nails. And then for the orange nail, I'm going to add red leaves. I've already gone ahead and done the maple leaf on the thumb and pinky. So now we can move on to the leaf portion of the design. Taking my dotting tool, I'm going to pick up some polish, and then I'm just going to figure out where I want the leaves to be, and then I'm going to drop dots all up the stem, so here, and then continue up until I get all of the dots in place where I want the leaves to be. Okay, to make the leaf, I'm going to take my nail art brush and I'm going to drag the tip of the dot out to make a point on one side and make it look like a leaf. For the burgundy nail, I'm going to do the same thing, only the leaves will be orange on this one. Leaves are done, now we can cure them. Now that we have cured the design, it is time to top coat. I'm going to top it off with this top coat from D&D. Now that the nails have finished curing, what I am going to do next is called finish filing. So we're going to check your nails, see if there's any spots that need to shape a bit more under the nail. So for instance, if this nail is a bit too wide and I want to shape it a bit, I'm going to take my file, and not on top, but underneath. So underneath the nail, file, and smooth out any rough edges that need to be smoothed. Or you can do this with a buffer instead. So if you have a buffer, you can take your buffer and buff any areas that need to be smoothed out. So not the top. We're not trying to take off the top coat. We're just checking the undersides to see if there's anything that that needs to be smoothed out. So I'm just checking all of them. Everything seems fine. I'm happy with the shape and the design. So we are done. We are done with this nail set, and we can now package that. Well, because these are for a client, I can package these and put them aside for the client to deliver to them. But for you, if you're making these for yourself, you can go ahead and take them off the stand, prep your nails, and apply them with nail glue, and have your cute little press-ons. And this is it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. It means a lot to me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support my channel and see more videos like this. Thank you again for watching. Have a blessed day.